think of it. Well, never mind.
Exactly. Don't start that argument.
Well, now we're live.
Normally by now we've gotten Charles saying something silly.
Yeah, if you saw it.
Something silly.
Something silly. Alright, hello and thank you for welcome to Geeks Around. I am your host, Matt Moore. We are discussing The Flash today. Let's introduce our panel. Let's start on the far left-hand side. How are you doing, Andy?
Doing well. A little bit of a cold, but otherwise I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you, Charles? How you doing?
I am doing awesome, and I gotta say, this episode of The Flash, amazing. I loved it so much.
And I noticed that your lower third went invisible mode again.
Yeah.
Yes, it did. I don't even. I don't know. Stupid. The damn thing's being stupid.
I
Just
think
like
Charles is
well-
a human. He's able to hide his little bird.
Yeah, that's got to be it. And it's a
I-
secret he shared with Isaiah, apparently. How are you doing, Isaiah?
I'm doing great.
All right. Next to him, we have Knuckles Goldberg. How you doing, Knuckles?
Well, one, I'm not next to him, but okay, I'm doing good.
In my lineup, you are. Knuckles Goldberg. I heard a rumor that that's not your actual name.
That's probably not true.
That's probably not true? That is your real name?
That's probably not true.
Oh, okay. And last but certainly not least, the newbie on the panel who we hardly make fun of yet, but give us time. Lurad, how you doing, Lou?
I'm doing great, guys. Let's get this show started.
Yep.
All right. This particular episode, of course, we end up having two main storylines. One that follows Barry, one that follows Iris. And really, when it comes down to it, the main bad guy, or at least the bad guy that we know is going to prevail over a period of time, Barry doesn't really even confront. I mean, they briefly see each other twice in the episode, but that's kind of it. And instead, Barry ends up meeting someone who's just kind of hungry.
Spider-Man.
Well, the thing
Yeah.
that's actually something that I wanted to say. Yeah, you're right. Barry only encountered Blackout only maybe twice in the entire episode.
Did you mean
Well,
Electro?
No,
Yeah, exactly.
Electro is a Marvel character.
Hey now. He's an awesome character, thank you. 'Cause he's
But
black.
Blackout, this is the first time I've ever heard of Blackout. The only way I know his character name was Blackout was because it said so in the info section in my satellite interface.
Are you sure? Because he was not black.
It also said it in the episode itself.
Yes, it did, but it didn't say it until the end of the episode. Cisco had said it. But anywho, what I thought was so awesome about the episode was actually the character development, like how Barry lost his powers and now he had to cope with what his powers truly meant. He had to stop. He had to stop thinking about his powers and start connecting with them. I also like the parts where Iris was by herself with her dad and at the police station. That was great too. The whole metahuman arc in this episode was okay, but it wasn't the best it could be. I mean, there's been far better arcs in the season so far. This episode, for the most part, I would label as a character development episode. And it was great character development.
It was. But the thing was though, I actually really enjoyed Blackout. I only remember him from one issue of Flashpoint a couple of years ago, but I actually think he was, because I think there are three categories right now that we're dealing with in Central City when it comes to the metahumans. There are the heroes, there are the villains, and then there are the seriously victims. And Blackout was one of them. Because we see the episode open up and he's just having a normal life with his friends and for some reason climbing up an electronic thingy whatever, but it was really tragic in a way. So he wasn't really like a villain per se, but he was just damaged.
Yeah.
So, to be fair, they just used the Spider-Man plot, right?
Exactly. They used exactly everything was Spider-Man 2.
I was actually hoping that someone was going to say that. I kind of figured it might be Isaiah. Yeah, the as it were, just losing the powers because he got too much into his own head. Yeah, that's straight. That's definitely Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, I don't
And
hate
yet,
it.
this one episode with the electric villain was more entertaining than Spider-Man 2. Oh,
Hey
Jesus
now,
Christ.
Electro was not bad.
Hey, for this episode, the practical effects, CGI, whatever you want to call it, was really good.
Yeah, it was.
I agree with that.
Blackout was really convincing as far as his electrical powers.
Well, his powers,
Yes, it
yes.
was.
Him, not so much. I can care less.
Well, no. I mean, when you saw like the little like electrical like electricity being in his hands lighting up and all that, you could kind of tell that it was like that it was practical effects, but it kind of looked like he was holding like little balls of light, like little light up balls kind things, and I don't know, but just the way that it was affecting the camera, like how the lens flares and everything.
Oh, J.J. Abrams directed.
Also,
even though I knew what it was very convincing, and
Also-
I got to give credit where credit is due.
Also, one last thing. We do know Blackout was an Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., right? He had the same, almost like, exact powers, but he controlled darkness. So I'm just throwing that there now. It's like, oh, there's two Blackouts.
His power was that he was able to suck energy, and it was just electricity. He could suck any living energy around him. And yes, they have the same name, but Blackout is part of a whole different dimension in Marvel Universe. I think they said Dark World in that episode. So yeah, I don't know. It's not a rip from either one.
I'm not
It's
gonna
just
say
that
I'm saying like they both sound very similar, and the storyline sounds.
Isaiah, you actually don't get to say anything more this particular episode because you started your last statement with one last thing. So you're not allowed to talk for the rest of the hangout.
But that's not how I roll, though. That's how I roll myself. One last thing means 100 more things. Thank you.
no, the way you roll is that you play video game while skimming through the episode of The Flash.
Exactly. Thank you for bringing that up, Andy.
Oh wow! So I gotta play an awesome game? Oh, I forgot.
No.
You don't have it.
Isaiah, how about take a little bit of free advice? How about instead of playing Dragon Age, you can actually sit on your couch and watch the episode?
We're gonna start that now. Okay, Charles, where have you been for the past couple of odd more months? Oh yeah, Secret World. Where have you been from Secret World?
What? I haven't been playing the Secret World in like 4 months.
Exactly. Thank you. And what happened to Star Wars again? Oh, that's right. So
I know it's the holidays, but if there's one thing I'm not thankful for, it's Isaiah.
Too
Let me
fucking
just put
bad.
it out there.
Too bad.
I'm
All right, so
Back to the episode at hand.
yes, exactly. So all right, so we have the two different storylines. We have Barry, of course. He ends up running into the Clock King. I'm trying to engage my brain right now. I've already had two things of Mountain Dew. What happens before the Clock King comments on his watch? Because that's the first thing I'm remembering from the episode.
What happened
Barry had
before
just-
that is Joe broke his mug. Isis walked in the room and said, "Oh, that was his favorite mug." And then he walks down and meets Duckling at the elevator.
That's about it.
That's all that was relevant to that.
Oh, okay. So all right. So he does end up meeting Blackout before we introduce the Clock King.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So I mean, I only got to watch the episode once because basically I got home from work, watched it, and then fell asleep.
Basically
Um,
life.
So they can't. So
Yes, exactly.
You sure you weren't playing
Because
no
by the
Dragon
time
Age?
that
he don't have it. He
no.
doesn't have it.
By the time that this airs and I can actually watch it, I'm already asleep for work. And then when I wake up in the morning, I go to work. And then after I come home from work, I get to watch the episode like once before this hangout starts. So, real life gets in the way. So I don't always remember every single freaking detail. So yes, we see the story where the kid is up on the tower. They're talking about the collider actually being turned on, and of course we all know what's going to happen from there.
Yeah, pretty much.
It ends up falling, gaining powers, killing his friends, and etc. We have seen this story from different viewpoints, different vantages, a few times now. Do we need to keep telling this story?
No, we don't need to.
No.
I don't mind that. I think it's actually pretty interesting because look, it wasn't just Barry who was affected by the particle accelerator incident. So it's like, look, because these people, they had lives before they got affected. So
Besides Weather Wizard, he had no life.
Well, how do you know that?
He's a
Because he
thief.
climbed a pole like an idiot.
Yeah, that's true too. He was an idiot. Like, why'd you call him a pole, idiot?
Oh, Isaiah, look who is coming from though. You're
know.
calling someone else an idiot. I don't know if it's appropriate.
Well,
But
It is an idiot. You
I,
don't-
I, I will say this is that people have been known to climb that stuff when they're like drunk and they're cognitively impaired. So
He wasn't drunk. He was just being stupid.
That too. He was
Oh,
being.
I want to have a better view. Really?
Yeah.
you get a better view while if you like stand on your car.
Buy binoculars.
Don't climb on top of the freaking power lines.
Right. Buy binoculars.
Like, just in
nowadays-
case there happens. Just in case there happens to be a power discharge that
Right.
easily that goes outside of the city, that
Yeah.
ends up having
Matter of
the
fact,
chances of that happening were like non-existent.
also, when he died from that too, all honesty, like he was on that. He was very high on that power.
Well, he did
You're
die.
very high
No,
on
I'm
that
talking about
tower.
like, yeah, that's true too. So the wire they're live. So when he died from the live wire or something like that.
It wasn't live wires. It was just hit
what?
by
I'm
electricity.
going to pretend I didn't hear that because I really didn't fully understand, and I think if I try to analyze that, I'm going to start killing brain cells.
Not really. You might get smart.
Whether
No.
you kill your brain cells or not, he was just struck by lightning.
He should have died anyway.
No. He
It
wasn't.
was-
Struck, he
It's
wasn't
the
struck by
electro
lightning.
effect.
He
Yeah,
was.
it was electro effect, really.
He wasn't struck by lightning. What happened is that he climbed up the power line tower to get the better view, which was still very, very stupid. But then when the shockwave hit, the blast was able to loosen his grip and he fell. He didn't get hit by any. Well, actually, I think he might have, but it wasn't lightning. It wasn't.
Yeah, it was electricity coming off of what we suppose is some sort of radio tower.
Thank you.
It was not lightning because even
It
though
was
lightning is naturally occurring electricity that comes from the sky during
Which you can
storms.
die from.
It's like the same thing with like the
Yeah.
difference between lava and magma.
The
Okay.
explosion caused lightning throughout the whole city.
Right. So.
Come on, dude. It happened in the first episode. Flashback a little bit.
Thank
10
you.
months ago. It was lightning.
See, Leroy's believing me.
Look, I have
What he
memory
ended up
better
being
than
was-
God knows what. I know shit and I analyze shit in shows.
See what
I
mean?
think all it was
lightning.
electricity coming from the power lines. I think that's all it was.
Bullshit.
oh,
No.
let
I
me.
have to
lightning
agree,
hit
I have
the
to
power
agree with
line
Charles,
and it
and I'm
caused
double
more-
checking right now.
Okay.
I'm double checking it right now. That way there is no argument. I'm looking at the scene. He's looking down. He's yelling to his friends to leave, to get in the car. And in about 3, 2, nope. It's all coming from the tower.
Yep.
Wow,
Thank
All of
you.
it's coming from the tower.
the logic is bullshit. Really, really bullshit.
So
Sorry, Lou.
you're gonna go the bullshit route with Flash, huh?
Basically, it's always bullshit. I take
Damn,
that
that's
back.
such an original statement from Isaiah Mullins.
I know,
Oh.
right? Even Andy knows that. See, even Andy's gonna agree with my statement. Thank you.
He wasn't agreeing with you, man.
You sure about that? He said original, meaning it agrees with me.
So
yes.
in any case, this we've
In any
seen
case.
this origin story a few times now. They don't really have to tell it. I guess that they told it in this particular case so we could see that he had friends with him at the time
With his
that ended up dying. So I guess that maybe was the point of telling that story.
But this
They
origin
don't.
effect
They
is
don't
just
need.
Batman.
They don't need to show it.
Right.
At least, like we know where all these like metahumans are coming from. They don't need to show them actually getting hit by
yeah,
whatever it
don't
is.
worry.
Like,
we don't care. We really do not care at this time.
Well,
Yeah.
you don't-
except for that, it may explain how they got their power.
Woo.
Well, here's
I
something.
think that
I was just gonna say this is probably just nitpicking, but I'm just curious. If this is the first time that Blackout had shown up and it's 10 months after the event, where the hell has he been for 10 months?
Bingo.
Suck
Maybe
it up to
higher.
publicity.
It's the same with the other metahumans. I mean, I understand that Barry Allen was in a coma for most of that time, but it could have just been a special case. The others might have just woken up minutes, possibly even hours after they were changed. So where the hell have they been all this time?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hiding in a corner with Dracula.
Right. Or Dracula Untold, which sucked.
So okay, so we end up having that story. We have then Barry's story where basically he ends up being drained of his powers.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what to do. We've already seen that he is literally dependent upon these powers for his regular life,
Right.
which is so now he has that taken away from him, even stuff that he uses for his regular life.
Right.
So yeah,
Spider-Man effect.
it begs the question, like, can Barry Allen be a superhero, or at least a hero, without his powers? Do we think he can?
Yeah, he can.
I
Ask
think
Peter
he
Parker.
can be him.
It's Ask Peter Parker. Yes, he
Can
can.
we
What's
stop?
that, Andy?
That's a dumb question. Of course he can.
Right.
And we don't need to.
Well, that's a dumb answer.
But again,
You're
we
dumb.
know what's going
Yeah,
on.
you're dumb.
Your hat is dumb.
No, that's awesome. The fedora is awesome.
It's one thing to call Matt dumb. It's entirely another to call his fedora dumb. See?
Yeah. And he found the one way to get blocked in the hangout.
You don't mess with the fedora.
Or the tip.
That's like asking us if Superman could still be a hero if he lost all his powers.
Or
No,
kill
he's
my
just
people.
a guy working on a goddamn paper after that.
Who also likes to dress up in tights and spandex.
And also, he has the worst disguise ever with glasses. Like, who's that stupid?
I was gonna say, Charles, you shouldn't judge too much about men who like wearing spandex and underwear on the outside. We know what you do on Thursday nights.
You know what you do.
I just thought of something. What if Barry lost his powers, but still continued his work as a forensic specialist and just started killing bad guys?
And that'd be kind of cool. He can go.
That would be kind of boring.
Dexter.
No, he can be talking about tires too. Like, oh, look at that tire. And that tire would be.
I was gonna say that would be Dexter, and that would also be Zach from Bones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but also tires.
Although Dexter actually killed other serial killers, while
Okay,
Zach
let's talk about Dexter. Dexter is nobody to even
Zach
talk
ended up getting taken in as an apprentice for the Gormagon killer, and he never killed anybody. Zach never killed anybody.
You lost me.
Yeah, so we're talking about Zach.
It's a reference to Bones. Never mind.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty
And
much.
I remember that.
But you're right, Charles. He didn't end up killing anybody.
Yeah.
But he was definitely on his way to.
Yeah, so
Yes.
that's not about Dexter. Dexter sucks. Going on from there.
Actually, that moment right there was talking about Bones, so okay. But
How
anywho,
about
back
we
to
talk about the Flash
Flash.
dad?
Yeah.
Hey, but we forgot one thing. Barry
What's that?
got stuck up and he enjoyed it.
Yeah, pretty much. That's like Peter Parker.
Oh my God! Stop with the Peter Parker comparison. There's no Spider-Man similarities whatsoever.
It's
Peter
not
Parker
even
got
the
stuck
same
with
comic
his
book
foot up.
universe, Isaiah.
Dude, they're copying the same materials and logic and mythos. It's kind of like obvious. Really?
No.
Yes.
Anywho,
You know it's true.
No, I want to hear
Anywho.
this. I want to hear this because I don't think he's being unreasonable here. I think that Isaiah, if you can briefly explain what you are talking about, explain what you were talking about.
Okay, so again, Spider-Man 2. I'm gonna use that
5
for-
hours
Be
later.
quiet. Thank you. So Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man 2, he was feeling very depressed, and unlike Barry Allen is, and his powers pretty much went away because it was blocked away by emotional and pretty much human-like elements within his own mind. His powers didn't go away at all. Not even Barry Allen's. His powers wasn't going anyways because he's connected to the Speed Force. His powers pretty much went away because of like losing that confidence, losing that self-confidence of himself. And so it's not about him losing his powers, it's about his emotional attachment towards his powers. And so that's why it was gone. And so this is why it's copying the Spider-Man effect. I don't hate it by copying Spider-Man at all. I don't really care because it's a mythos that's been used a billion times. So I'm okay with that.
Okay, so you're just talking about the crossover in the yips, the actual like not having the confidence to keep the power going. See, I thought you were talking about like something like other similarities between the two, but if you're just talking about
there's
that,
actually more similarities too. There's actually.
I will say this. That I will admit that Grant Gustin and Andrew Garfield do look similar in appearances.
But he wasn't referring to Andrew Garfield. He's talking about Tobey Maguire's second Spider-Man.
Yeah, but I don't care. I'm just saying that if there's any Spider-Man similarities with the Flash. I'm just saying that the only similarity I can see is that they have similar looks.
And
And
I
you
think
started now.
Barry's problem was he just had a mental block going
Well,
on.
the,
He
the,
didn't
the,
realize.
the thing that was going on. All right, I'm gonna. All right, I'm just gonna say this right now. It's just what would happen in Spider-Man 2 is the reason why Peter Parker lost his powers in Spider-Man 2 is because he was getting all pissy because he couldn't realize that he was in love with Mary Jane. However, in the Flash, Barry Allen lost his powers via
Not really.
blackout, but
He didn't lose it.
but after they jolted his cells with more electricity, like sort of like repeated the whole process of gaining the powers initially, and he still didn't have them. It was a mental block because he was still thinking about the powers.
Yeah,
He
Peter
wasn't connected
Parker.
to them. It
I
is
have,
only.
I
It is.
have to
It is.
agree with Charles. I have to
It
agree
is
with Charles
all-
on
wait.
this. I think
It is only similar to Spider-Man 2 in a very small and remote similarity.
Yes, because you didn't see the Flash walk down the street in his John Travolta outfit.
That's right. That's Spider-Man 3, though.
First off, I've got two things to say. One, I agree with Charles. If anyone knows about being in love with Mary Jane, that would be Charles, the
That is
weed
true.
man.
Yeah.
Continue.
Second off, I have to agree with Charles as well. In this episode, it was two different things that were blocking Barry's powers. One would have been drained by blackout, and they showed that because when they actually did the first biopsy, I guess, of him, they showed that he did not have the power at that point. And if it were mental, they would not have seen that.
But
So
also,
it was two different things that were blocking his power.
Matt and Charles, you forgot one.
The mental thing was only the second.
Well, then Peter Parker wasn't just stuck where he was in love with Mary Jane. He also has his best friend hates him. The world kind of hates him. His life was going down to the shitter. So it was four things.
You do understand that we're trying to avoid talking about Spider-Man in this.
Exactly.
I know, but let's be honest. They're pretty much identical at times.
No, they are not. You know, okay, you know what? I'm doing it right now. I am taking this whole Spider-Man 2 bullshit, crumbling it up into a little wad of like imaginary paper, and I am throwing it out the window.
Because
We are
it's
going
true.
back to Flash.
Much like the tissues he has right next to the desk, he's
Yeah, thanks to
putting
the
it into a little
Hey
wad and
guys, I have
throwing it in the trash.
let's talk about Clocking for a second. How amazing is Robert Nepper as Clocking? I freaking love him. He
The
is
guy that
perfect.
played Clock King, he is awesome in almost everything he does.
barely.
He can do no wrong.
I mean, it was no teabag, but okay.
The first
He-
show
he
I
was amazing.
ever saw him in was Heroes, season 4. He played Samuel, the
Oh,
guy at
that's
the
a
carnival.
Okay, that's just pretty much very. Oh, that's lowering the bar, though. That's lowering
He
the
was
bar.
actually one of the only good things about season 4 of Heroes. Then the second
Yeah.
thing that I saw him in was actually an episode of Stargate Universe.
You was going to say Stargate. I knew you was going to say Stargate.
He was a guest appearance in like 2 episodes of Stargate Universe.
Charles,
I saw him recently in
Charles.
Hunger Games.
Yes, what?
do me a favor and watch season 1 of Prison Break.
Yes, do that, please.
No,
Blow
no,
your
Sean.
mind.
No, that's not fair. Charles, do yourself a favor and watch season 1 of Prison Break.
Yeah, do that.
Because it's
No.
definitely a favor for yourself. It's that good.
Yeah.
Charles, do yourself a favor and watch the whole series. It's a good.
No.
Look, see.
No,
Oh my God,
Andy, no offense, but I'm gonna have to side with Matt on this.
Why trash?
So,
Season
yes,
2 is really good.
By the way, Andy, Andy, nice deflection with the Clock King. Second off, yeah, he made a great Clock King. I kind of wish that we had him face off against the Flash,
Yeah.
but of course they're saving that for a later episode, I'm sure.
Unfortunately.
That's the thing. Is he like which show should he belong to at this point?
Well,
should he
actually,
can I finish my thoughts?
Okay, go ahead.
Should he go between the shows, or should he just stay on one of them? And if so, which one should he stay on?
I was
I
gonna say that I did my more research for Clock King earlier today, and according to both the old universe and then the new 52, Clock King is primarily a Green Arrow villain.
Okay.
My thought on it is that I'm hoping that the villains are actually going to very easily cross over between the two. That I know it's not going to happen, but I want it to happen. I want you to have Green Arrow villains all of a sudden show up on the Flash, and I want the Flash villains to show up on Green Arrow. I want that to happen. It's probably not going to, but for example, I want to see. What's that?
It happened already last week.
Well, as in like all the time, not like every once in a blue moon. I mean all the time. I want it to happen. For example, I want Nissa Al Ghul to show up on the Flash and be like, okay, like I'm taking care of business here, and the Flash is like, who the fuck are you? Like I want that kind of shit to happen.
Or we could have Captain Cold on Arrow.
Yes, please have that.
Yeah,
please.
exactly.
That'd be so awesome.
So with Captain Cold, I'm very sensitive about it. I would prefer if he's mostly on Flash. I would not mind seeing him on Arrow a few times, but to me, it's just Captain Cold. Like, you know, it's just such a perfect fit with the Flash. It's just like, what is Oliver supposed to do, and what is Captain Cold supposed to do against each other?
He's not super.
But I do agree with Matt that they should definitely have these villains go between the shows and stuff like that. That's why, and I'm not gonna bring up too much, but let's say for argument's sake that Plastique comes back. You know, in the comic book she is a Suicide Squad member, so maybe you will see her there.
But you can't regenerate.
Oh my God, Isaiah, can you give up the whole fucking?
No, she can't regenerate. I'm sorry, I looked that up too.
Did you see her body? Well,
yes, we saw. It's dead. It is so dead.
Give me a picture. Give me a picture.
Give me a picture.
Enough. It's just I think that with Plastique, I think it's still a possibility that she might come back, only for one reason. She is a metahuman, meaning that aside from her explosion type power, she might be able to heal.
No, she's not. I looked it up.
Okay, Wolverine.
I said they may have changed powers in the show.
Yeah, she's like Jubilee, if you think about it.
Oh my God.
No, she's better than Jubilee.
Let's talk about this episode of the show. Let's talk about this episode of the show only because if we continue on with this particular conversation, I'll have to say words that I don't want to say.
What?
And I think you all know what that is, except Isaiah, because he's sometimes stupid. And in any case, so the Claw King was amazing. Blackout was He was better than many of the other villains, but he still was
Yeah.
The fact that we ended up bringing back a dude from Barry's past, the one who was
from 7 days ago.
You brought back Colossus.
It's not Colossus.
Yes, brought back Colossus.
And let me say, I wasn't there for that show. I'm just gonna say this: GotR has been better developed in one episode of Flash than Colossus ever done in the movies. Because the only thing Colossus used in the movie is eye candy.
No, sorry.
He had one word in Days of Future Past.
Colossus not. He's not a bully.
No, all right. It's just the thing is that I'm gonna have to side with Andy on this. Is that Tony Woodward really shined in this episode because Wells let him go and he was fighting Blackout. And the thing is that when he got the crap kicked out of him by Blackout, Barry went to his aid and said like, "Hey," it was like, "No, I mean, you know, I can't stay away from a fight." And then he looked up at Barry and said, "Run." It was like a final moment of like redemption.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't see that as redemption. I just saw that as get the hell out of here.
Much killed some people, and pretty much he did cause destruction, and he gets redeemed by saying, "Oh, run, Barry!" Really? Wow. Let's give a long applause for Grinder.
You know. To be honest, I'm not even mad that you're saying this about that character because you know what? You are Isaiah, the guy who hates everything.
Well, he's not good villain though. He's not a good anti-hero either. He's just a guy who can change the metal, like Colossus. Again,
better developed than Colossus. In any case.
Thank you.
So.
In any case.
Then we also have the other side. We have the Clock King story with him holding the entire police precinct. Well, I guess not 8 cops and he had shot 2, and then Eddie being there and he shot Eddie.
That's so terrible.
And that was
The
terrible.
issue there was, did
He
Eddie
wasn't
not think the
superpowered
man would be
villain.
wearing a bulletproof vest?
Right. How did you know he had
Okay,
bulletproof vest?
let me defend him for a second. He was after all arrested. So like when you assumingly why would he have a vest? So
We
like
should check him always.
And what the hell did he use to break out of his cuffs?
Right.
Where did he grab it from?
A smartwatch.
That's right. That's smartwatch.
I mean, I don't mind it because I think he kind of saved the episode. The only option there really was Isis, and she's too much
Iris.
now. Iris, whatever the hell her name
Don't
was.
give a fuck.
no, you
She's
say
too
her
busy
name right.
worrying
He's
about,
amazing.
oh, come on, is the Flash going to come save me? Please, no
Right.
more damsel in distress storylines.
We've seen this before too. We literally have.
I mean, in Arrow, yes, I'm going off track again, but in Arrow, we don't really have the whole damsel in distress thing anymore. I mean,
yes, you do.
Felicity can handle herself, Laurel can handle herself. I mean,
Shovel Face cannot do that. Nope.
you know what? Okay, moving on back to Flash. Okay,
But it was good that he
So,
didn't show up there to save them, that they did it on their own.
yeah.
Well, semi. They did okay. By one guy who had no superpowers.
I loved seeing Eddie on painkillers. By the way,
Yes.
that floor.
That was
I
pretty
was on the
funny.
Why
I
did
was
it?
on the
was.
floor. I was on the floor for 10 minutes after that. He was like, "Flowers, that is so nice.
Isn't
I
that morphine
love
though?
ice cream." He's so fucking hilarious. And I know that like this is gonna be so controversial, but like I don't mind seeing him on painkillers, every once in a while because he seems to just let loose.
But he was on morphine if you think about it. He wouldn't be on
Yeah,
painkillers.
the thing is
But
that
yeah,
in that scene where we saw him getting all loopy and all that, I just got a big grin on my face, going, morphine.
All right.
But there is one important moment that we have to look into because Barry actually uses his powers for a second there, and look, and this actually reminded me a lot about the Arrow pilot remember when Oliver and Tommy got kidnapped, and that Oliver started fighting all the guys and so on, and he thought that Tommy was unconscious, but then 15 episodes later we learned that Tommy had actually seen almost the whole fight. I think this is going to come into big play in later episodes between Eddie and Barry. That Eddie is now.
That's actually something that I was going to come up on with the third, as it were, storyline. Because Harrison Wells has his own thing going in this particular episode. We start the episode, and I'm remembering it a little bit now, with him going into his little secret room and seeing the future, and the future is all good, and he ends up talking to his computer, Gideon, and Gideon's all like, Gideon's telling him what the future is, and apparently he has access to as much of the future as he wants. And then he ends up going in, and later on you see him again, not in his wheelchair, releasing Colossus, and then you have him again checking his room and seeing a different future on his feet. Basically, he spent more time on his feet this episode than Barry did running this episode.
Well, he's more interesting though.
Did you know?
Well, I don't remember him being on his feet when he let out Colossus.
Yeah,
He was
Girder.
He lifted the door.
yeah, he lifted the door and he had to stand up for that.
Yeah, like, hey, Colossus, how you doing? Hey.
Girder.
But my question is this: how was he getting the technology to see so far into the future?
Because he is from the future, he brought him with him.
The original speculation was that he was from the future and he brought the technology with him.
That sounds really stupid because
Yeah.
because in law of
It's
physics,
leftover.
it doesn't make enough
It's
sense.
leftover from the Terra Nova set.
By the way, do you know who was the voice of that female AI?
Who was the voice of Gideon?
Siri?
Mm-hmm. A certain Firefly actress.
Oh, really? That
Marie-
only. Oh, wow.
Who was it?
It's not. I don't think it was Eva Torres because I would have recognized it in a second.
Wait,
So
the
it'd
one
have to
with-
be either Marina Baccarin
Yeah,
Marina
or
McCarn.
Yes, that
Marina
was her.
McCarn, yeah. I'm gonna have
Was
to
her?
watch that again because I didn't recognize that.
Yeah, I didn't recognize it either.
Well, it was her. They've confirmed that. So, and now she's gonna be on Gotham as Leslie Tompkins.
Oh,
This is like the
really?
this is like the third actor that has appeared on both Gotham and Flash within just 6 weeks, which is kind of hilarious. But I have a question about Gideon. Remember last week when they talked about Tess Morgan, his wife, fiance, whoever it was? I wonder if that's her.
No, I.
Well, he recorded her voice.
Maybe he put her conscious or mind into computer, because that happens in sci-fi and fantasy and comic book stuff.
Brings it over to the future and to the past. That doesn't make enough sense.
So we're
Is Isaiah talking? Are we just ignoring Isaiah at this point?
Yeah,
let's
pretty much.
let's
You're
just
pretty
ignore
much-
Isaiah at this point.
Who's Isaiah? Who's
I'm
Isaiah?
crap though. Ain't gonna change. But yeah, I mean, really, you brought your technology from the future to the past, and all the laws of physics that shouldn't work because the technology doesn't exist in that universe. So that doesn't make enough sense.
But he brings it from the future into the
But how
past,
does
and
it
it's
keep working though? How does it keep working?
because
Why would it stop working in the past?
yeah.
Yeah, it would stop working in the past because it's not made in the past. It's made in the future.
All
Isaiah,
right, Isaiah.
Oh,
No.
it's true. Look it up. Look it
Okay.
up. Folks. Look at Stephen Hawking.
Okay, you muted me once. Can we please mute him for once?
Yeah, I am afraid we do not want to discuss time travel with Isaiah.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
don't want to do that.
yeah, guys,
Just, you know,
yeah.
Transformers. I mean, yeah. Terminator
Love
movie. Not that great.
So does that mean that if you were to take a gun into the past before guns existed, they would stop working?
Basically, yes.
No.
Yes, because all physics and all reason just go out the window when you go into the past.
Exactly.
Oh, technically they want to be registered, and that would be
Exactly. You see nothing? He agrees with me right now. Amazing. Just amazing.
God damn it!
To any of our viewers, let us know in the comments if this is what you're enjoying with Isaiah when he says basically the most illogical things in the galaxy, in the
Oh,
universe.
nobody's
because
watching at this point at 37 minutes into this.
I'm not blaming them.
Because I'm
To be fair, we do have a viewer. We have one viewer currently. So, ha!
You're welcome.
bitches.
You're welcome.
All right, so in any case, yeah. So his stuff is working. He's running around like on his feet throughout freaking half the freaking episode.
No one noticed it.
He ends up letting Colossus go. He ends up restoring the future. He ends up and he determines that Barry's connection with humans is what is going to drive him to do better and better and better, which is not what he was thinking before. Of course, us who have either read the comics or know how comic books work
Right.
knew that already.
We gotta know that. It's like basic fact.
And Antonio Cunningham in the QA is saying that Isaiah is making my head hurt.
Thank you.
That's
You see,
specifically
that's what
from
it
Antonio.
works. Thank you, Antonio. See, that's what you mean, man. You and me, man. That's how it works. That's how.
Antonio, just know this. I mean, it's not just you. He's making all our heads hurt.
Because it's so awesome,
Yeah.
though. It's a lot.
At least Antonio, you're not in these hangouts like 4 or 5 times a week with him, because imagine that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just take a minute and let that sink in. Yeah.
I know, right?
All right.
It's gonna kick me out.
Do we have anything else storyline wise that we want to talk about?
One thing that I would think is important, where what's his name talks to Mr. Wells, and we discover that he showed up in the city 2 months after Barry's mom died.
Okay. All right.
Joe?
That seems kind of important.
Well, that was not mentioned in this episode. I think this was mentioned last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was last episode.
Oh,
Episode, and no one-
that
They-
may be
I don't-
because I watched both episodes today. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, at least you watched them, which is good.
Only thing I saw weird was why he was taking blood from the dead guy.
Exactly.
The
Because
reason
wants
why
to
he
know
took the
how-
blood from the dead guy was to be able to find out how he was able to siphon off the Flash's
He
powers.
literally said why, Lou.
Yeah.
He literally
Like,
This
said,
doesn't make sense. Why you want the man blood?
Okay,
Barry
that's
Allen's power.
because-
I wonder how you did that. And
Right.
then,
It's power.
as he
Evil
was
bad
doing-
guy says that. Evil bad.
How does that that not make sense to you, Lou? Right? He wants to figure out how he stole Barry's powers.
Simple. He
No,
was able to
no,
steal
no,
electricity from people. Why do you need his blood for that? He was struck by radio lightning, whatever you want to call it.
And you're done.
No, the idea, Lou, is that, and this is my thought on the matter, is that he realizes that someone can take Barry's powers. I'm thinking, and this is completely with my bias, that Harrison Wells is the Reverse Flash still. And
Yeah.
I know a lot of you are thinking that it's Eddie, but I'm thinking that Harrison Wells is the Reverse Flash, and he's using this particular research to actually get the Flash's powers.
I could go with
That
that.
he's not the Reverse Flash yet, but he will be.
He will.
You got two different sides of the Doctor. He's like good one minute and creepy the next.
Or it's straight up evil.
I think he's working with the Reverse Flash. I don't think he is a Reverse Flash. I think he's working with him.
With what Matt said about him possibly either being the Reverse Flash or going to become the Reverse Flash, and that some of us think that it's Eddie who's going to become the Reverse Flash, I think that both sides are wrong. I don't think it's going to be Eddie or Wells. I think it's going to be somebody who has yet to be introduced.
Really?
That would be.
I think Isaiah is the Reverse Flash.
Exactly. That would have been awesome. Like, yeah, I'm Reverse Flash right here.
Hey, you
Hey,
never know.
You never know.
Charles, you never know. Boom.
I
Hey
don't
guys,
know.
just for Charles, Reverse Flash is going to be Wally West.
Oh.
Really? No, you
No,
do?
Charles has no idea who that is.
He doesn't know.
Like,
He doesn't know.
Okay, guys. Even I
no
think that
clue
joke
who
is
that
starting
is.
to get old.
Oh, really now? Whatever.
Oh, no, it's all...
well, we could talk about how racist Charles is.
Yeah, we can do that. Exactly.
No one was it that he wanted an African American man to play the bodyguard of Girl
God damn it, do not bring that up again.
We're not
Just
gonna-
because-
All right,
big.
wild
We're not.
speculation,
We're
Charles. Charles, save yourself. Wild speculation, go.
Yes. My wild speculation actually is that it's a couple of things. First off, my first wild speculation is that yes, I think that the Reverse Flash is not Wells or Eddie. Actually, and here's another thing. With Eddie, because of what happened the episode with GotR or whatever his name is, and
Right.
Eddie was teaching Barry how to fight. I think because of that, how they were being all buddy, I think they might end up becoming friends.
Like,
I think Eddie Thawne is not going to become a bad guy. I think he might end up joining Team Flash. I think he might. And
That is so adorable.
So
Yeah,
you're basically
I-
saying they're going to meet up in the bar and drink some coffee together.
exactly.
I don't know. I think they're going to be friends. Whether or not he's going to find his secret, I don't know. But I think that they're going to become friends. I think they're going to become friends.
Look, I ship the fuck out of Betty, but I don't think that's their destiny. I think he's definitely going to become a Reverse Flash at some point. Whether he's the first one or the next one. Look, there's a reason why he's called Vaughn. So
Character.
Well, yeah, and Thawne is Reverse
Are you
Flash
saying
in the
Thawne?
comics.
It sounds very close.
Thawne,
Are you sure?
Hawne.
Are you sure? Sure.
That's
All right,
the
here's
character
thing.
bio says.
Thawne.
All right.
There's always a typo.
All right,
anyway.
my wild speculation is at some point Barry's going to realize that coffee does absolutely nothing to him. So why the fuck is he standing in line for it?
Right.
maybe he likes to taste it.
Well, I mean, hell, I've had coffee before, and if it's a certain kind of coffee, I'm like, hey, this is good.
Matt, you don't know him. If he wants to drink coffee, he can drink fucking coffee.
Well, here's another thing. He could end up going into line to get coffee to keep up appearances. I mean, somebody not going
Yeah.
to get coffee in the morning looks weird.
Not me. I don't get coffee.
What do you think of why? I listen to music to wake me up.
Wow.
No, Charles, nobody was asking, but that's adorable. Matt, you leave him alone. If he wants fucking coffee, then give him a damn cup of coffee.
What? It's
Yeah.
like having decaf
Yeah,
for the
he
rest
dropped
of
the
your
hammer
life. Being
down,
stuck
yeah.
with decaf
Right.
for the rest of your life. That's gonna suck.
Yeah.
Maybe you like
It's Futurama, bro. It's Futurama. It's been confirmed. Flash, Futurama, it's been confirmed. Boom. It's been confirmed.
What?
It's confirmed.
I
Futurama.
don't
So,
know.
guys, did you get any of
speculation
that?
so I can mute you after?
I
Okay.
have one.
My speculation is we will not know who the Reverse Flash is until next year.
All right, Knuckles. What is your wild speculation?
My wild speculation is that in the next episode, the Doctor is going to ask Barry for a stool sample, and we will learn that he has not taken a shit since the very first episode.
All right. So
Wow.
Because he burned so many calories. There's nothing there.
So what you're telling me is that our man, the Flash, Barry Allen, doesn't pee or poop.
It's
He's
constipated.
fucking joking.
Yeah, he doesn't excremate. Okay.
Yeah. Because there is no waste. It all goes to use.
I hate you all.
Andy, do you have a wild speculation?
Go fuck myself.
Save us all. Save us all. Do you have a wild
It's all
speculation?
up to you.
Have we seen him go to the bathroom at all?
That's
No.
I don't think we're gonna use.
No. This will be my ongoing theory for the rest of the series.
Isaiah logic is crazy. Nothing makes a good point.
Fantastic Gary Straight never got to the bathroom in any show.
It's all off screen, but
Oh god.
I don't think you guys have the confidence enough to understand that.
The only thing
So
we see
Andy,
from the bathroom
Andy,
is
instead of
mostly
sniping
watching
at us, do you have a wild speculation?
No, I only have
Okay.
thoughts about the crossover.
Yeah.
And I definitely want, that's going to be pretty huge, the crossover. Do you have any speculation for the crossover?
Things that could potentially spoil things, so I don't want to bring it up.
Okay. Does anyone
I mean,
else have any other wild speculation that does not involve stool or poop?
Okay, fair enough.
It wasn't that funny, really.
It really was.
Yeah, it was.
It was funny.
I'd say throw it out as a theory on your podcast, Andy.
No.
No, we actually say smart things on my podcast.
Oh god.
Oh, burn. Okay.
Listen, I'm just using my knowledge of biology here.
Exactly.
I was going to say, Andy, just to substantiate what he was saying, I was in a little thing called the Marine Corps. In the Marine
Good for
Corps,
you.
the first 2 days of boot camp, you do poop. However, not until 2 months later after that do you poop again. You literally go more than a month, almost 2 months before you poop again.
Yeah.
Because you
turn
burn
on.
absolutely everything. What's that?
Yeah. Plus, you're in
What an
the shit
absolute
for 2
turn
months.
on.
That was totally the point, Andy. Or it was to substantiate the idea that when you're using all the freaking calories, there's nothing to poop.
Exactly.
But does really anyone care about whether Barry poops or not?
Yes,
No, all I
we
fucking
do
care
not
about is his fucking super speed. So the fact that we're wasting 5 minutes, like, does he poop or not? It's like
Exactly. That's a good question, though.
it's like having a philosophy of whether or
He
not anyone can
poops.
actually.
It's a Chinese question.
Although I
Hey,
will bring up
Knuckles,
that
he poops. That's what that streak is every time you see him running.
I'm gonna call him the street too.
No, that's why he didn't want to be called the Streak anymore. He's like, you know what? I don't do that. Thank you.
Happy fucking Thanksgiving.
All right, I think we're going to wrap everything up on that note.
No, let's talk more about poop.
Yeah, let's do that. And we talk about tired too. And
Andy,
okay.
Let's talk about diarrhea and prostitution.
Andy, calm down. Andy, calm down. Tell us about your shows.
My what?
Your shows.
My shows at theflashpodcast.com, where we don't get up to poop talk. It's 100% non-Isaiah filled. You're welcome.
All right.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Isaiah, very quickly, tell us about your thing.
all right, folks. Yes, Isaiah. Well, we're gonna talk about poop itself. Because does the Flash really poop? You never know, folks. You never know. And also check out my community, which is the Zone. It's like a sister cousin of Geeks Around, which is Isaiah's Zone as well. A sister cousin. Too
A
bad.
long distance cousin.
I just reserved the URL, theflashdoesnotpoop.com. Please visit it.
There you go. See what I
Give us
mean?
your opinion.
It's a movement, folks. It's a movement.
All right.
Don't miss the
Charles.
epic crossover.
Oh God.
Charles, tell us about Loving Mary Jane.
Yes. On your pizza.
No.
I just played with the dog.
We're going to wrap things up here. I want to thank everyone for watching. Of course, check us out at geeks.com as soon as I can afford to turn that back on. Or go to Google Plus and search for Geeks of the Round. You can do that as well. Also, youtube.com/Geeks of the Round. Check it out. Watch next week's episode. And tomorrow we should be doing. There was an Arrow episode today, right?
No.
No, thank God.
There was no Arrow episode today?
No,
Because they had to line it up with because Flash went on of 1 week a few weeks ago, so that's why Arrow had to do it as well, so they could line up the crossover, which will be next week, Tuesday and Wednesday, 2-night epic crossover, Flash vs. Arrow, and then part 2, The Brave and the Bold. Do not miss it, as we will be talking about 500% poop throughout the whole night.
Oh, don't forget about tires too. We gotta talk about tires too. Because look at that tire.
And let's not forget about the